Hi, Grandma Abuela here. Today I want to talk about a more serious subject. I want to talk about the topic of child sexual abuse. I want to give you some tips that can hopefully help you protect your children. Now, I wish that I could say that if you follow all of these tips that your children will be 100% safe, that they'll never be sexually abused, but obviously I can't make that promise. But hopefully what I'm going to share with you today will help you keep them safe. Before I begin, I want to just give you a few statistics because sometimes people think, oh, well, that can't ever happen to me, that can't ever happen to my child. It's actually a growing problem in our country. The latest statistics that I looked at said that 1 in 4 girls will be sexually abused before they reach the age of 18, and 1 in 6 boys. Most of these incidents of sexual abuse occur before the child reaches the age of 10. That means that if you were to look around and you were in a room with, say, 20 girls, 5 of those have been sexually abused. If you're sitting in a room with, let's say, 18 boys, 3 of those have been sexually abused. And that's kind of concerning. Like if you're sitting in a classroom and you were to look around at the students in that classroom, that means that there's a really good chance that there's a few kids in there who have experienced some form of sexual abuse in their lifetime. Most of the perpetrators of sexual abuse, when the children experience it under the age of 10 or 12, are actually family members or someone who is close to the family. And that's really concerning. Most perpetrators of sexual abuse are male, but not all. There are some women who also commit sexual offenses. Something that's really interesting is most people who are sex offenders were abused when they were children. However, not all people who get sexually abused as children become sex offenders. Just want to put that out there, and that, just because someone's sexually abused as a child, it doesn't mean they're going to become a sexual offender. But if someone does become one, most likely they were victimized when they were younger. Now, I taught at a youth correctional facility, and during that time period I had the opportunity to work with kids who were victims of sexual abuse and people who were sex offenders. In fact, I had a psychology class where it was made up of boys, and all of the boys in that group that I ran were sex offenders. And so some of what I'm going to tell you is what I learned from working with these kids. Some of it is stuff that I've learned through my own research, but I'm hoping that these tips are going to help you. First of all, people who are sex offenders, they generally do things to help get the victim, the person that they've decided they want to victimize, to help have access to them. They do something that's called grooming. And what grooming really means is that they are doing things to have more access to that child. They do things to win the trust of the family and of the child. They might do things like buy them extra gifts, pay extra attention to them, give them extra privileges, give them special treats. Then they move on to where they're trying to spend some one-on-one time with the person, trying to just get that alone time. And then it gradually moves on to the sexual abuse. And it doesn't just happen overnight. It's not like they say, okay, today I'm going to sexually abuse this child. It's very, very slow and subtle. A lot of times it just starts out with maybe just a little bit of touching, and maybe not even inappropriately, but like starts out by giving them hugs, but maybe those hugs last a little bit longer than they need to. They might move on to where they're holding them on their lap, but holding them in a way that might be just a little bit uncomfortable for the child. And then once the sexual abuse starts, they have ways to actually manipulate the victim into keeping silent. They may tell the victim that they shouldn't tell anybody because if they do, the victim will get in trouble, or that the perpetrator will get in trouble, and because they've are giving this victim other special things, special favors, treats, toys, taking them on special outings, the victim doesn't want them to get in trouble because they really do care about the perpetrator. That's the thing about sexual abuse is a lot of times the perpetrator is somebody that they know and care for. It creates a contradiction for them. On the one hand, they don't like the abuse that's going on, but on the other hand, this is a person that they love, that they care about, so they don't want to see them get in trouble. Other times they might be threatened. They might say, if you do this, then I'm going to hurt a family member. Or if you do this, then it's going to break up our whole family and people are going to come and take you away and you won't ever get to see us again. There's all sorts of threats and things that they do to manipulate these children into keeping silent. So it's really important as adults that we are vigilant, that we're aware if there is someone that the child may feel a little bit uncomfortable around, if there's someone that may seem like they're paying just a little bit too much attention to the child in an odd sort of way. Man, this is a tough subject. It's tough because it's hard to know whether it's someone who's, if Uncle Ted is just being, kind of weird, or if it's something we really need to worry about. My dogs are going to start barking. I am so sorry about that. Maybe this is a good place to end the video.